Hello, everyone. Welcome to our broadcast tonight, our workshop series, which is alumni-led. This is part one of how to use LinkedIn to get a job. And we're very excited because this series is being brought to you by TheDream.Us alumni, your fellow peers, your alumni, members of our Alumni Council. Two of them, which we have here tonight with us. First is Kai. She's a Dream.Us Scholar graduate from John Jay College of Criminal Justice in New York. And she is now a Master's of Public Policy candidate at the George Washington University in DC. And then we have Kevin. He's a Dream.Us Scholar graduate from the University of Central Florida. And he is now, he currently works as the Leadership Program Facilitator at the BB&T Leadership Institute. So with that, I'll turn it over to both of them. But before that, a couple of housekeeping. I'll let you know that in the Zoom dashboard panel, you have two ways to ask questions or interact with us during the broadcast. So one is the chat box. So anything you think of during the broadcast, if a thought comes to mind, a question, anything you want to share, type it in that chat box. Make sure everyone can see it. You can do a drop down and make sure the panelists can see it and everyone can see it so that your peers can know what you're asking. And there's also a Q&A box. So the Q&A box is very simple as well. Just write your question in there. The panelists will be reading your questions in the background. They'll answer what they can, but then there'll also be time in the broadcast to answer your questions live. So with that, I'll turn it over to our presenters.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Selena, for that amazing introduction. And thank you all for taking the time out of your day to really believe in yourself and in believing in the ability that you can become a better Dream.Us Scholar, a better student, and really develop your online presence. So both Kai and I are very honored to be a part of this council with the Dream.Us. We are very grateful for the opportunity that it's given us and the opportunity to give back. And so we are happy to be here to lead this conversation with you. As Sadana said, write down your questions on the Q&A, put your comments on the chat box. We'll get going in a minute. I wanted to give a moment for Kai to introduce herself as well. Talk a little bit more about just how excited she is to be a part of this program. So I'll let Kai share a few words.
Thank you so much, Kevin, and thank you, Sadana and Tanya, for giving us this opportunity. Welcome, everybody. I am bursting with excitement. I think I've been excited all weekend or since we started planning this amazing webinar. So today, we just want to be as transparent, as open, and as fluent as we can be in helping you to become your best in your professional growth. Kevin and I are excited, and I'm just ready to start.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're very happy to be here. And so, Sadana, if we move on to the rundown, let's kind of talk about the agenda for today. Sadana mentioned this is a serious workshop. It's a serious workshop, but it's a series as well. Yeah. So today's part one, and then next Monday at the same time, we will have part two. Let's talk about what today is going to be all about. Today is going to be about how to develop your LinkedIn presence. It's how to create a LinkedIn profile. We're going to talk about the different sections about that you will find on LinkedIn, from the picture to the summary to the awards and your education. We're going to spend some time talking about what to put in there. We will talk about how to write that eye-catchy headline that people will feel uniquely interested in learning more about what it is that you get to do every single day and what do you want to do with your degree, or what do you want to bring to other organizations? What are you all about, really? We'll talk about how to write an effective summary. A lot of folks don't spend a lot of time on this. A lot of folks, they just create their page, they have a picture in there, and then they move on. We'll talk about educations. That's when Kai is going to jump in and talk about how to sell yourself, how to tell them about your education, how to make sure that you make your education count, make your education matter. We'll then jump on identifying a few keywords that you should use that we understand some recruiters use on a regular basis as far as looking for talent. So we'll share some of that, and then we'll finish up on what to put on your awards, section. How do you mention your achievements, how to talk about what you've accomplished, especially how to talk about the fact that you received this wonderful scholarship from the Dream.Us. The last thing we're going to spend some time on today is just talking about privacy options. Why are we talking about this? Some folks don't get into LinkedIn because they don't know what's getting out there. So we want to let you know what you can control about what people see and what people don't see about your profile. And, you know, I'm already I'm so excited about that one. I'm ready to jump into it, but I won't get into it just yet. And so that is the rundown for today. That is the agenda. It's all about creating your profile. Next week, we were going to have a LinkedIn professional, an employee from LinkedIn come in and spend some time with you. So you don't want to miss that opportunity. Once you create your profile, let's talk about how we use it effectively to be the best candidate out there. And so that is what we're going to be doing today and next week. But before we get going, let's kind of level set. And Sadhana is going to help us work with some questions that we have for you. We're going to put on the Q&A or on the group chat, Sadhana, to kind of get an understanding. Oh, here we are. We have a little poll that is going to help us here. If you could go ahead and take a second to answer this question. First one is, do you already have a LinkedIn profile? Yes, no, maybe you're still thinking about it. And the last option is, what is LinkedIn? So go ahead and take a second to vote and fill that in. And this is really good, Sadhana.
We almost have everyone voted. I'll go ahead and close the poll and I'll share the results. This is what we have.
Awesome. So it looks like we have 12 brave souls on this WebEx. Thank you so much for taking the time. Looks like a lot of you, 83% to be correct, already have it. Awesome. One of you doesn't have one yet. That is fantastic. Thank you so much, whoever you are, for really just being honest about it and saying, you know what, let me see what this is all about. Thank you for doing that. And then one person said they're still thinking about it. So they heard a little bit about LinkedIn. They know the value. So they're still thinking about how they might, you know, they're a little on the fence perhaps. So we're here to tell you this is the best thing you can do to advance, one of the best things you can do to advance your career. So that is good to know. It helps Kai and I tailor the presentation as we go along. And so thank you so much for that. We got two more questions. Question number 2 is coming up. Here we go. For those of you who already have LinkedIn, how often do you check LinkedIn? Do you do it every day? That's me, by the way. I got it on my phone. It's on the home screen. I probably check it too often. Every day, maybe once a week, a few times a month. I can't remember my password. That's an amazing choice. And the last one is rarely. So you do have it, but you almost never use it. So take a second to answer the question. All right, let's see, some folks are commenting on the chat.
Right, I see someone commenting, don't forget to vote in the poll.
Very good. Thank you, Erica, for your participation.
And you can be completely honest here. You can say, I can't remember my password. It's totally fine.
Yeah, and it speaks to that. If you can't remember your password, it means that you created an account one day and then you just completely forgot about it and you never used it ever again. So completely, that helps us as well. So a few more seconds before we close it.
Yep. We actually have one new entry. It says every few days, and that's something we didn't have. So Sego, thank you so much for that response. Every few days. That's me.
So I'll go ahead and end this now so we can get going and I'll share the results. So this is what we have.
All right. So 36%, 4 of you check it every day. You guys are my people. You guys are my people. And so that is fantastic. And then some of you are once a week, like I was saying, you know, just a few times a week, maybe once. That's great to hear. One person said a few times a month, so not very often. You know it's there, but every now and then you go back and check it, totally fine. No one said that they can't remember their password. That is great. I am happy to see that. And the last group, rarely, which can range from once a month to twice a month to I created it and I haven't used it ever again. So that really helps us a lot. We got one last question. coming up. Here we go. So what is your level of LinkedIn knowledge? I'm an expert, but I need to find a job. I'm pretty good about it. I would like to learn some more, showing some growth mindset there. Very little knowledge. And the last one is, I got a profile picture. That is the level of knowledge that I have about LinkedIn. I created it and I put a picture in there. Hopefully it's a good one. We'll see when Kai talks about it. We'll see if Kai's able to, if you're meeting Kai's expectations.
I will not be judging. No judgment, no judgment here.
So let's see, somebody's putting some responses there.
Okay, Erica, good, but would like to learn more.
Yeah. Very nice. How often do you so how do you feel about your skills, Adana?
I would say I'm pretty good, but I need to learn more.
Absolutely. I would feel the same way. I feel like there's so much to learn about LinkedIn. And this is probably the reason we're putting this together. We are learning as much as you are. You know, we've been at it. We kind of are a little bit, been at it for a little longer than most. So we know some things and we really want to share what we know as well as some of the stuff we research with you. And so there's always room for growth. All right, here we go. Here we go. So, all right, I like this. We do have someone that is an expert out there. We really look forward to your comments and your participation. Definitely bring some value to the presentation. 30% of you feel pretty good about it. Definitely want to get some more. I like that. And a vast majority, so about 62% said very little knowledge. That's interesting. And you know what? That is why we're doing this. That is why we're doing this. A few months ago, I was browsing through the alumni page and I was trying to connect with some of our alumni. By the way, if you are not on the alumni page, you need to be in it. For those of you who already graduated and are soon to graduate. So make sure that you spend more time in there. We realized that there was an opportunity for us to do this workshop. So this is allowing us, really telling us that we made the right call here by executing on this promise that we made to you a few months ago. So thank you so much for participating. So we're gonna continue on with the next slide. And really, we already introduced ourselves, so you kind of know who I am, Kevin Ortiz, working for BB&T. I am in North Carolina, so if any of you are in North Carolina or close by, let me know. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and stay in touch. So please let me know. And of course, Kai, she's just fantastic. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Kai so that she can kind of get going with this presentation and talk about the first thing, which is once you create a profile, some of you said you already got a picture. Let's get to that. First, quick final overview. Kai, do you want to go ahead and jump on this one?
Well, yeah, so just again, I think Kevin did an amazing job. It's just going through, but I just do want to be mindful of your time. Thank you again for everyone joining us. We're just going to jump right into the first part, which is creating that, selecting that profile pic. So if you can take me right to that, Sadhana, I'm ready to go. So we have a fun fact that was actually gathered from LinkedIn data. And it says that people who have a current profile picture image on their page are 14 times more likely to be viewed. I think this is important because oftentimes I have seen LinkedIn profile pics where someone may have just the generic picture or a very blurred, very outdated pic. And in researching this content, I discovered that what LinkedIn was looking at was those who had more of the updated pics, the pics that were along their standards, and things that recruiters overall look for. So you're probably asking, well, what is that? I think my pic is good. But actually, these are some of the things that LinkedIn found and they actually look at. So the first thing is to have a high resolution image. In short, a high resolution image technically appeals to those that were taken at maybe with a professional. If you do have a more updated Android or Apple device, you do have access to a very good solid quality camera. So you are able to do like a simple picture. Believe it or not, my first LinkedIn profile pic was me standing against a wall and having one of my classmates take a picture for me. It didn't quite hit the pixels because I was using a much older version of an iPhone, but it was pretty close. So what LinkedIn suggests is that you look at the 400 by 400 pixel, which is actually qualified as high resolution. And what that means is that it's not blurry, it is clear, and that you are identifiable in the picture. So that's one of the first things that they suggest if you're using a LinkedIn an image for your LinkedIn page, is having that. If you look very briefly at my profile and also at Kevin's, mine was done when I got into grad school. My school kind of did a quick LinkedIn picture day with us. So we met the resolution content. We were, of course, against two types of backgrounds, which was a gray background or the white background. It was suggested for the MPPs, the policy students, that we should then use the gray background. So, of course, there are guidelines and rules. Your schools may suggest. Kevin also has the gray background, but it's something that our face is identifiable. The pixels are clear. It's not blurry. You always know when a pixel is off when the picture looks stretched. And then it almost looks like I can count the little pixel boxes in your picture. That's when you know you've stretched it beyond its capacity. The next thing is your face should fill up 60% of the frame. Now, this is a question that everyone may be wondering, what does that mean? It means zooming out all of the unnecessary background. So it's like silencing the background noise and focusing more on yourself. One of the things that we suggest with anyone that's taking a professional or business shot is being able to take a neck up. So almost by your shoulder line up, that would be a 60% zoomed in. Anything that pushes you further back or brings in more of a distraction where your background is more highlighted than you, it's not advised to have that as a professional profile picture, only because it would take away from a recruiter really kind of trying to figure out who you are. And yes, people do determine who you are based on your pictures, sadly, but it's true. And that then leads into the next point of avoiding these distracting backgrounds. So no group pictures. I'm sorry. I know you love your friends. I know you love your classmates. You may love your cute dog, but unfortunately, they cannot join this journey with you. LinkedIn is about you. It's about you trying to sell your best professional self and telling someone, hey, I'm the person that you need for this job, and this is who I am. If I'm gonna take a picture, if you look at the check marks and the X mark of the profile pics, Freddie is a CEO at we don't know, but if you see Freddie's pic, it's very unfocused, it's very distracting. In fact, for anyone who may be looking from a branding version, I would not know if the job that he listed in his headline is the job that he's actually going for based on his picture. So that's another thing. Recruiters often determine your seriousness about a job based on your picture selection. That then rolls into the next part about choosing our facial expressions correctly. Now, I'm smiling in my picture. Kevin, if you remember his picture, he's smiling. It really depends on the job that you're going after. I often make this budding joke, but all of my attorney friends have very serious pictures, and it's almost like that very serious, I'm here to no kind of business. I don't even crack a smile if you gave me a joke kind of look. But what I was taught is that something about them, they call it their game face. So when they're looking for a position as a new startup in a firm or something, for them and for their industry of work, having a very neutral and serious face, it complements the job that they're looking for. For me, I'm looking for something more in the data field, more in the political field. If you look at any politician's picture or anyone that's in the data analysis field, they're smiling because there's a warmth that has to go with you, knowing people and being a people's person. It has to say to my audience that I am friendly, I am open, and I am welcoming. And that's also one of the reasons, going back to why they suggest having a 60% up close frame, because your body language can also speak to your audience without you being aware of it. So if you're further back in a picture and your arms are folded, What a folded arm can say is I'm unapproachable, or I'm not as open to having a discussion with anyone as you think I may be. So that's something, just an FYI, to be mindful of when you are selecting your pictures. If you're going for a job and you know that your job is known for having one type of characteristics, there's a certain culture. And when I say culture, I mean, what is the premise of the job? What is your possible employer like? Have you researched what the other employees are like? If you've done that research extensively, then your picture should then add to that team. I often go to other people's business pages and go to the About Our Team, and I look at the different pictures of the team players that are on the pages, because then it gives me an idea of what they would be looking at. So I know, hey, all the team players are smiling. This is a friendly team, whether they're not, they're friendly, they're open, they're warm. So then I'm going to put that just to suit, because I'm going to apply to that job. This leads to the last part. I love to say this to anyone. And I do see your question, Dulce. I will definitely answer that. And I'm glad that you asked me that question. Let me just quickly touch on that. What look would you recommend for a job in the legal field as paralegal or legal assistants? That's a very great question. One of the things you need to be mindful of if you're going into the legal field, these are your two suit colors. You can research it, but it's almost very standard. Black and gray suits. If you ever look at any of the attorneys or go to any attorney's LinkedIn page, they almost always have on a suit. Suit says something to them. It speaks for their legal field. It speaks for their professional level. And you going in as a paralegal or legal assistant, you want to mimic something based on the industry that you're entering. So I would say if you are going to do a picture with the same mindfulness of 60% of the frame, if you have a black blazer, if you have a dark gray blazer, would I wear pink if I'm going for a legal field or a paralegal assistant? I will not, because pink is loud. Loud colors are very distracting in that field. And you never see an attorney walk in a courtroom with a yellow suit on. They always have a standard suit. So yes, you do have a black suit, then you are on it. Make sure that you have no distracting jewelry. That's also something to be mindful of. I like to say this, when you're in a more of a political or in a legal field, pearls are always welcoming. Pearls are very simple. They're very simplistic. For my ladies, they're very simplistic. Just wear it and take your picture and be confident about it. Brooches, you stay away from all of that. Your main focus is you. So I hope that answered your question, Dulce. Thank you so much for just raising that question. And I do wish you the best of luck in the paralegal and legal assistance field. So great, that goes into further talking about the dress, how we want to be addressed. That's something that I have been singing to anyone that I'm mentoring, is you dress for the job that you want, not for the job that you have. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna repeat that again. Dress for the job that you want, not for the job that you have. For most of you, you're coming out of college. You may not have had work experience before. If you're looking to become hired by some job through LinkedIn, research the background and the field that you're entering. Study the people, study their content. I go through people's LinkedIn page and I'm sure they get that, viewed your profile, Kai viewed your profile, that's fine. But I'm studying the people because I need to know more about the field that I'm entering. How do I want to be addressed? I want to be addressed as for example, Dulce, I want to be addressed as a paralegal. Then you know that whatever I'm going to wear is going to be very business professional. I would rarely be caught in maybe like casual clothing. I'll have more business professional suits. And here you go. You can see I have on pearls on my neck because, again, I'm in the public policy field. But it's just very rare as to what I would do. But I also would have on predominantly suits because this is what I want to be addressed as. On my daily basis at work, I do work as a technical assistant at my university. So I'm doing a lot of hands-on training with students on how they can use assistive technology in their classroom, students with disabilities. So I'm always wearing a suit now. I'm almost always wearing a suit because it separates me being a grad student from working with other grad students and other undergrads. It kind of separates the dynamics of who we are. but it also shows a level of professionalism that my office is very strict on, which is we want excellent services for all of the students that we cater to. So again, and I'll stress again, please dress how you want to be addressed. If you want to be taken seriously, be mindful of your suits. A suit can never go wrong. And if it's an industry that doesn't call for a suit and it's casual, make sure your casual is well taken care of. You can live very well and look very good on a budget. I'm a grad student, and I think I have one of the lowest budgets I've ever had, ever, because there's so much more that's pulled out of me financially. But I'll tell you one thing, I know how to use coupons very frequently and find those good deals and get my suit jackets. I mix and match a lot. So I would have like a plain bottom and another top. I do my standard blues, I do my grays, I do my blacks, and I have my various tops to put inside, my blouses, my button-up shirts, and my bottoms are always very solid, very black, dark gray, very standard. So I hope this can help someone, that you don't have to have a great amount of money. You can save and look really well. So Sadhana, if you can just transition me to the next slide. Is there any questions? I'm sorry, I know that we had a few in the box.
I don't see anything. Just definitely recognizing that, again, Dulce is the MVP. She brought a great question, and we really appreciate her comments.
Thank you so much for that question once again. So just moving along. So when we say your headline is the top portion of your LinkedIn profile, we have here an example of someone's headline. First of all, the do's and don'ts. Your headline should not be more than 120 characters or less. You can count that by putting in the headline in maybe a Word document and do an count. Or for me, I actually was able to do the count on my LinkedIn, the app, the mobile app. I was able to navigate and see how much characters I was going into. Be mindful. Recruiters are not looking to read a lot of content on your headline. They just need that one catchy, one very eye-catching, eye-opening word that you use, which then moves us into the part of tailoring your words to attract your audience. What do I mean by that? Going back to researching the job industry that you're looking for, learn what the proper term is for that job position before you use it. I've seen people use job positions incorrectly. That's a big thing if you're saying that you're looking for a job, but you don't know what is properly used in the job market. If you go to Monster's job, I believe it is, you can just Google and find what these names are, just the same way that you can find what the qualifications will be for that job. But it's big, and I gave you some examples here, whether you're saying that you're a sales associate, that instead of saying I'm a store, I don't know what you'll even call yourself. I'm just working in the store. I'm a store
Store clerk or something, right?
A store clerk, right? You're a sales associate. That's the professional wording for your name. I'm an accounts manager. You handle anything with finances. I'm an accounts manager, or maybe I'm not an accounts manager. I'm working within accounting or something like that. Finding the proper terms. I threw in what my position would be a data analytical manager. So that's, again, just knowing the terms associated with you. But it says here I'm a technical assistant, technology assistant, because that's what my current job is. But once I get my MPP, I'll be able to do data analytical information working. So again, include value propositions. This is key, and it will be key also for your resumes, also for your cover letters. Propositions. We know it to be action words. It's words that describe or illustrate what you do. It is words that recruiters and employers look for and they listen to when you're also interviewing with them face to face. I like to put it as the doing X to produce Y. So the example I gave of some words is enabling, assisting, supporting. Those are all propositions. And if we know in our, remember English class, those are action words. It tells us what a person is doing. But it's also key when you place that in your headline or in your resume, because what it says is that you're actively engaging in something. And I said, an example, supporting X. So I'm supporting the business manager to, do I gather data? on a daily basis. That just a simple, very simple thing. I am enabling my team to produce expense reports on a weekly basis. Again, I'm doing something to help X produce Y. I do see a question and I want to acknowledge your question. Are you happy? Oh, so are you happy with your current headline? Tanya, is that for me?
I was asking the attendees to let us know if they were happy with their current headlines.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So I think that's a really great question. Are you, those of you that said that you are navigating the system fairly well, are you happy with your headlines? And again, looking at the example that I gave you here for the side, the person is a director of public relations and marketing, and where she uses her proposition, it's raising visibility and awareness, creating strategic partnerships, and then there were some other propositions in this example. So if you kind of like look at your own profiles, I just want you to, after this, you can go look into your profiles. And again, Kevin and I will be available if you need to email us and talk to us. We are here to help you, but it's really important in getting used to using these words. Action words are key. It's also key when you're getting involved in any teamwork. Back again to Dulce, you're going into the paralegal and legal assistance field. You'll be using a lot of action terms when you're doing any of those documents or just talking to your client. It's being able to describe something as a moving part of your daily job. Check your grammar. That's big. Say what your potential employer says. And again, that's you going on. I always like to say it out loud. If it sounds funny when you say it out loud, it will read funny when your recruiter is looking at it. Past tense need to be where they are in the past. Present tense is important to have because, again, how you write a simple headline can tell an employer how you would write an email on their behalf, believe it or not. People want to see how you write because they want to know how you speak. How are you speaking? If your job involves you speaking to other people, a general population, they want to know that you can articulate yourself, that you can slow down on some words and just not being a dictionary scholar, but they want to know that you can gather some details and carefully articulate it to the people that you're assigned to if you're going into a managerial position. Last and very important, not least, don't brag. Avoid being overconfident. You want to present yourself as a team player and a daily learner. I say this, do not lie on your LinkedIn profile. If you have not mastered it, do not put it. So don't say that I'm doing data analytical work and you really don't know what data analytical work is, because that means that you know how to successfully navigate STATA and SPSS. And if you just didn't understand those two that I just said, or the R, if you didn't understand any of those three, you do not know what data and analytical work is. So don't lie, it's fine, don't brag. Put what you're comfortable saying that you are comfortable doing. And I do see a question.
That's a good question.
Right now I work as a research assistant, but I want to get a teaching job because my major is elementary. So what I would say to you, Heidi, is that I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Please forgive me if I'm not. And Kevin, help me if I'm not. Okay, Heidi.
Yeah, I got it.
Good, perfect. Switch up to what you want to do now. You're graduating in May. You don't have to wait until May to put that up. Remember, you're selling yourself from now because you'll be building in and working in your qualifications as it goes by. I say go for it. If you want to go into the elementary education field, what I should ask you is, are you looking to get more jobs? You said you want to get a teaching job. Then go for it. Make the change, because one doesn't appeal to the other. Saying that you're a research assistant may not appeal to recruiters that are looking for someone in the teaching field. So again, write what you need right now and tailor your headline for that. Right, perfect. Thank you, Brenda. It's a great place to find professional wording or job positions and the right vocabulary. One to online. I don't know about that website, but thank you for sharing that resource. I hope that the other scholars are just able to go on. Brenda just shared something where you can get professional wording. For us, I just gather the content from like the job websites. That's where we would get our wording. And also it's wording that I use in class with my research. So it's just something that it's becoming more embedded in my daily vocabulary. So yes, of course. Awesome, Heidi, thank you. And I hope, I wish you all the best with that. So that then goes on to the next slide. Education. So this is the part where some of us tend to list everything. Let me tell you what was said to me when I first signed up for LinkedIn. I had my high school, I had my junior college, because I graduated from junior college, Borough of Manhattan Community College. If anyone is on here from there, woohoo, you're my alumni. Borough of Manhattan Community College. And I have an undergrad degree from John Jay, and now I'm working on my grad degree from George Washington University. When I first got to GW and they reviewed my LinkedIn profile, yes, they do review our profile because this school is like, we need to have the best, whatever. So they reviewed it and they said to me, a high school education is like wasted paper. Please remove your high school and your junior college. I was sad. I was really heartbroken because I was like, I need to connect with my alums. Like, I need to know. And they said, no recruiter will take seriously anything but your undergrad degree and the degree that you're currently working on. And so said, so done. When I applied for an internship right after, the first thing that they immediately looked at was my undergrad school. And then they started asking me more details about my current grad school position and what made me change from pre-law to now public policy. They didn't acknowledge my high school. They didn't care about talking about my high school, which high school I went to, and they didn't acknowledge my junior college. So in saying all of that, when you're considering your education background, really think about it as a source of networking. But also it's important because I just want to jump to this one. Some recruiters tend to favor you based on the alumni, if you are a current alum. I've met and have had a lot of job opportunities from a lot of GW alums, whether they came from our GW Law School or the GW Grad School. They saw my school and they immediately jumped on it like, oh, you're currently in there? Oh my God, I graduated in. And we had like an open conversation. So when you're selecting, when you are thinking about what to list, without giving you the pressure, again, it's not a pressure on, well, your high school is just nil and void. That was just something my school did not want us to have. They wanted us to remove the high school and the junior colleges. Conduct a search filter. Make sure that your school is able to be tagged when you add it to that education section. If you're having a hard time adding it, it's because maybe there's not enough alums on the page, or LinkedIn generates their information very differently, and I believe it's through the way that users are added, if I'm not mistaken, Kevin. I think the more users that would tag a certain location, then they would start to generate it as being official. I'm not sure, I don't want to give wrong data.
Yeah, if I may just add to that, most schools actually have their own page. Mm-hmm. So for example, the University of Central Florida, the College of Business, I'm in Clemson today, so the Clemson College of Business has their own LinkedIn page. So if you went to Clemson, for example, you can just say you went to Clemson University, but you can go as far as to find Clemson College of Business to really develop and connect with those who went to the same college as you did. So oftentimes it is, like you said, there's enough folks that create it because they keep claiming it. Most of the times, you will see the school itself have an online presence. So most of our school partners, I want to go ahead and say that they have a great LinkedIn presence. So
right.
Definitely something to look into. Great point.
Yeah, so definitely conduct the search and be able to tag your colleges. Again, you're thinking about networking, and if someone does a general search on LinkedIn and they're looking for people that may have attended only this one particular school, then you're right in there. So that is something great. Adding to the education piece, I just want to jump quickly to the next slide, Sadhana. It was this part about TheDream.Us.
Yeah, if you want to go, there you go. Perfect.
Yeah, so just quickly to add in, one of the things that and I'll let Kevin take over from here, one of the things that we want you to be mindful of, we want to be TheDream.Us proud. And if you see it right there, it's on the screen. We want you to be proud of your accomplishment. You applied for something that was very challenging for others to get into, and you were selected. So congratulations to you. Kevin and I was in your position. And it takes you a lot of places. It opens up just amazing opportunities for you. So you do want to just stay connected, also get involved with the Alumni Council, but listing it, where do you list it? You can list it under your education. TheDream.Us does have a LinkedIn page, so you can tag it. When we say year to year in the example wording, we mean the year that you received the scholarship and the year that you will be ending. So you'll be ending receiving it maybe this year. If you're graduating in 2020, then you'll have from 2018 to 2020. We had some suggestive wordings. You don't have to have this wording, but it was just saying like it's a competitive scholarship awarded to highly motivated immigrant students who have demonstrated the ability to succeed in college and life. I absolutely love this wording. Why do I love it? Because it gives a lot of action words, but it also shows that not only are you an immigrant student, but you're an immigrant student that is doing something amazing. And if you look at news and recent headlines about us, that shatters a lot of myths. So if I have to wear a banner that says that I am an educated immigrant student, I will do that because I'm not a criminal and I'm not anything else that has been stereotyped and attached to our population. We are better than what we are portrayed as on TV. So I think if we can put that on a banner, fly it as high as you can, put it under your education or under your accomplishments. And now, Kevin, you can take it away. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm jumping in the chat now.
Well, I just wanted to say amen, sister. I mean, a lot of you folks out there, you're probably looking to get into grad school. And when we're talking about excellent immigrants who are doing fantastic work, you look at Kai, for example, right? We got Kai, Dream.Us scholar, going into grad school, about to graduate. And so we're doing amazing things. So yeah, wear that shirt, man. Wear that shirt for sure. Fly the banner. And so if I may continue with the presentation, I want to spend some time talking about the summary. And your summary, as it says in the slide, this is your opportunity to just give people, equip them with something about you that they can then go somewhere else and say, you know what, you're looking for someone in leadership development. I know Kevin Ortiz, he does that. Let me connect you with him. So this is what your summary is about. It's about connecting, empowering other people to talk on your behalf, as well as getting them to know who are you and what you're all about. And so when you're writing this summary, you want to have 1 to 2 sentences about who you are. I am a first-generation college graduate from University of Central Florida, looking to inspire the next generation of college students. That can be something that you can write, and I see Sadhana is kind of pulling mine in there. First sentence, who are you? The second thing is you want to give them a little bit about what it is that you want to accomplish and what it is that you want to do with your time and what kind of value do you bring. At the moment, I have in my second paragraph a little bit about what I do in my community, whether it's serving as a board member or serving on the council for TheDream.Us. It kind of tells the people about what is Kevin all about. All right, so this is who he is, first generation college student. Second paragraph, what is he all about? And then the last paragraph can be about, I have it more about on the interesting connecting side. If you can see on mine, it's more about what I like to do on my free time. You can also tailor this to say, this is what I want to do for you, or this is what I can do for you. I have a track record for, it could be an example of, I have a track record of great sales, great revenue sales. I have a track record of no errors on my reports if you're an accountant, and I can bring this to your organization. So find ways to tell your story. And this is when you take the opportunity to share who you are and really just tailor it in a way that you want to, right? I'm an immigrant. You can talk about the fact that some folks I've seen on LinkedIn, they talk about their undocumented status very openly, or at least as a DACA student. That is optional. You don't have to do it. Is wherever you're comfortable with, but you definitely want to at least talk about what it is that you want to accomplish, not just for yourself, but the community that you serve. So don't let this part go to waste. Please, please, please don't leave it empty. You are leaving money in the bank by not filling this opportunity and letting people know a little bit about you, a little bit more about you. So definitely don't ignore that one. As we transition into the next slide, let's talk about skills. So one thing on LinkedIn is you're able to go in on LinkedIn and put in the skills that you consider that you have and that other people can also validate for you. So if you consider yourself a great communicator, put in their communication skills. If you're in a paralegal world, like we were talking about earlier, hey, I have experience with, I'm a paralegal, I have experience with Microsoft Word, or with writing proposals, or with supporting people at the legal. I don't know much about paralegals. I'll tell you that much, in case that's not evident. But anything that you know your company, you know your organization, you know what you do, but tailor it to that, and then allow other people to endorse you for those skills. So by all means, please fill this one up. And Sadhana, if you could switch into either mine or Kai's slide, so we can kind of show them what we're talking about. If you scroll down, Sadhana, past education and experience, you'll be able to see this. Yep, there we get in there. Here we go, skills and endorsements. For example, what I do for a living is I facilitate leadership development at students at colleges and universities. So student leadership and teaching students how to be leaders is what I get to do. So a lot of folks kind of endorse me for that. So if that is something that I'm passionate for, that I want people to know about, leadership in general as well, it aligns with what I get to do and what I do. So that is another skill that you can also request other people to endorse you for. So don't let this one go to waste. I have a good amount here that I'm trying to develop and grow, but really you'll see the top 3 show up, like time management and customer service. That comes from my experience at restaurants, right? So I used to work at a Jason's Deli, and I used to connect with everyone at Jason's Deli back in the day. So that was something that we all endorsed each other for, because we did amazing customer service. So don't let that one go to waste. Let's get back to the presentation. And I know we are about 10 minutes away from 9 o'clock, and we do want to spend some time kind of having some Q&A with everybody at the end. So let's switch to the next slide, Savannah. And I'm trying, let me pause for a second and see if there's anything here that we need to address on the chat, Kai. Do you see anything? Well,
Brenda asked a great question. If you want to kind of read that out, I answered her personally, and the other attendees can see. But if you want to address that, I think it's a great question.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Brenda. So would our LinkedIn be a digital and more detailed version of our resume? Ooh, yes. So the resume versus LinkedIn conversation. So here's the thing. Your resume needs to be very tailored to a particular company that you're applying for. Your resume, when you make it, is not just one version of your resume. You want to have that thing as an evolving document, where when you're applying to a company that is looking for certain qualities and you see certain verbiage in that job description, you want to bring that same words into your resume, for example, and then use it for your advantage. However, the difference is with LinkedIn, you want it to be as close to what you usually have on your resume. However, on LinkedIn, it's not company specific, it's more industry specific. So think your resume as company specific. I'm applying to this particular job at this particular company. And then think of LinkedIn as, all right, this is, what do I want people in my industry to know about me? I'm not necessarily looking to get a job in this particular company, but more about in the industry. So it can be a bit of a digital version, but it's more industry specific, whereas the other one is company specific.
Great.
The last thing I will share with you is we have so yes, you made your, we're at the end, right? You've created a picture, you got a summary, you got your education on point, you put in your skills. You wanna put your LinkedIn URL also on your resume. So it kind of aligns with you, Brenda, on your question. You want people to be able to go to your LinkedIn. And one advice that I give folks that I do myself is I create my unique URL on LinkedIn. For example, if you go to www.linkedin.com/in/KevinT.Ortiz, and you'll see at the very top, you'll go to my page. That is not automatic. You have to go in and create that.
Okay, yeah.
In order to do that, you have to go to your profile and make that edit. Sadhana, I don't know if I'm able to, given the time that we have, we probably just go over that. I'll be more than happy to guide anyone through it or share some comments around that since we're getting pretty close to time. But don't miss that opportunity, and then put that link on your resume. So when you hand your resume to a recruiter, just in the given case that they're not following you on LinkedIn already, they can go in there and find you and be able to really see more about who you are and how you connect with people. So by all means, use that.
And can I just say,
Can I comment? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just really quickly, I think you have to filter out the job that you're applying to. Some jobs would not necessarily accept a resume with that LinkedIn. Please, again, that's where you go into research and mindfulness of the industry that you're going into. To the person, don't say it was you that was entering the legal field. That would not be something you would list on your resume. Also, if you wanted to do research assistance or any of that, that would not be someplace that we would put our the information. So just be mindful. That's when you can like Google and research what a resume would look like for you. But it is a great idea to put it on your resume. It's just mindfulness of the job industry that you're entering. Some of them would not necessarily want to see that. They would more have it in a conversation with you, asking, do you have a LinkedIn page? Do you have a social media page? And it's sometimes on their applications online than it is in their what they're looking for on your resume. So just be mindful of that. That's all I wanted to just kind of throw in there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm coming, my perspectives on the business side, coming from the finance business world, it tends to be a very common thing. So if you're a business major, that tends to be something that is appreciated in a resume. So very specific, do your research, know your companies. Great point, Kai. As we transition into the last slide, this is one thing I wanted to spend some time on, which is you do have the opportunity to work on some privacy settings. In order to do this, you can manage, what people get to see. You can change your passwords. You can control notification preferences, and definitely spend some time on that, checking it. The way you do that is you go to your profile, you go to click the me icon at the top of your LinkedIn homepage, and drop down to settings and privacy. You'll be able to see all the different things that you can control. That, for example, you can control what people see, such as your picture, until they connect with you. So if you're connected with them, then they can see your picture. But if you don't want anyone just looking at your picture until you're connected with them, you can go in there and make that adjustment. So spend some time in there and just work on your privacy settings for sure. I know I had a slide on something I wanted to talk to you about, leadership and how to connect it with LinkedIn. We'll have to save that for another day. I definitely want to spend the last 4 minutes that we have just allowing anyone to really just ask a question and either put it on the chat, or I don't know if there's a possibility for you to raise a question and we can unmute you. I'm going to let Sadhana lead that aspect, and then we'll jump in as necessary.
Yes, absolutely. If you would like to ask a question out loud, just click the little icon to raise your hand and we'll unmute you and you can speak directly to Kai and Kevin. And keep putting questions in the chat or anything you're wondering about or thinking about or you're unsure about. Just let us know what's on your mind right now. How do you feel after you've gotten all this information? Do you feel like you learn a lot more than what you already knew about LinkedIn? I certainly feel like I learned a lot more. I said in the beginning that I was pretty good, but I wanted to learn more. And then I picked up some great things in this presentation. It was very inspiring. Now I'm gonna go change my profile to add some of the things that Kevin and Kai talked about in there. And I'm not even in the job market, but I know I want to keep my online presence, very fresh, very current. I want to keep it robust. I want to make sure people know that I'm where I'm at right now in my current career. So you don't have to be in the job market to do this. Your LinkedIn should always be, the freshest, most current it can be. So I know I'm going to go spruce up my LinkedIn with some of the things I've learned here. And I know while you're thinking about your questions, if you have any questions, I know we're looking at Kevin and Kai's profiles, and they're very impressive people, and they have a lot of skills on here, and they have a lot of endorsements and awards. And you might be thinking, oh, I don't have that much experience, or oh, I don't have that many things to list. My profile may be looking a little bare. That's okay. You don't have to have all of these things that are chock full on your profile. It just has to be meaningful things to you. So you, like Kai was saying, think about how to say certain terms of things that you've done in the past. You may think, oh, I worked at this store for a year and I don't want to put that on there, but really you can use the certain terms that you can make it a more meaningful experience, that you can say, hey, I was working in customer service, I was working in sales, or I was working, you know, as an assistant, and I managed all of these things, and I was keeping track of these things. So it's meaningful skills that you've learned, doesn't matter what the job is, that you can translate into like terms, key terms that recruiters are looking for when they search your profile. Yeah. So we're about 1 minute to go. Does anybody have any last minute questions for Kai or Kevin? I would say definitely go find them on LinkedIn right now. I'll actually put their profiles in the chat, and you can definitely go connect with them right now. That's probably the first thing you should do, because they are both great resources for all of you and for all of us. They're doing great things. They definitely have a wealth of knowledge to share with you both. So please click those links, connect with them right now, reach out to them, ask more questions. And they're going to be coming back next week for part 2. So don't miss it. We would say, go spruce up your profile, go take these tips and put them into practice. We'll be sending out this PowerPoint presentation to you all and the recording of this. So go look back and then, you know, put these things into practice, and then come back next week. And then we're going to show you then how to actually put this into practice, get noticed by recruiters, and get you a job.
Yes. We don't want to end without looking at, I don't know if you saw Brenda's question, Kevin.
Can you hear me?
Do you want to just take that as the last question? She did ask a question in the chat box.
I'm having trouble hearing, but I...
Okay. Brenda has a question. She's asking, what about digital badges? How do we reflect them?
Yes, I'm having trouble hearing, and I do want to talk about Brenda's question.
We can hear you, Kevin. Go ahead.
We can hear you. I don't think he can hear us.
I'm trying to know
what is meant by digital badges. Can you explain that a bit further for us, Brenda? It might be used as another term. Are you talking about the banner, maybe? Can you just kind of clarify that for us? Because that's it, yeah, I'm not too sure, but Brenda, please feel free to connect with us offline. In the interest of time, we do want to just be mindful of it. Please pose this question to Kevin or I on LinkedIn, or you can email us and we will definitely help you with that, because we just want to kind of understand when you say digital banner, what are you referring to? It might be a different name. So we want to just kind of make sure that we understand the terminology before we give you an explanation. But again, thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure just to chat with each of you. Kevin, are you able to comment, or are you still having problems?
I think I'm back.
Okay.
I think I'm back. I think I logged out for like a quick, my computer logged me out for a quick second, but I'm sharing my email with you, Brenda, so that you can ask me the question. Of course, you can always do it on LinkedIn as well. So looking forward to talking to you about it. And see you guys next week.
See everyone next week.
Thank you, everyone. See you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.